Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Eclecticka. This is part 2 with Emilio Lopez. And I'm Seven. And we've got Michael the Knight. And of course, we have Sensei Vegan.
Thank you.
So, last you were with us, you were talking about the workflow and how things have changed, digital versus just holding a comic book in your hand, a graphic novel. What do you? If you had to pick one, what do you prefer?
I would totally prefer a graphic novel. That's at least for like what my ultimate project would be. It would be to do a completed graphic novel idea as opposed to. I mean, granted, digital is the cheapest way to go, but I don't know. Again, like we were talking about the last time, it's just like, got that book right there. It's sitting right there in front of you. It's a real object as opposed to a file on a screen.
Right.
It's just different, man.
Now, do you prefer working on comics versus animations?
I like all of it, to be honest.
Okay.
And in the industry nowadays, it does pay that you do know a lot more than, outside of your field.
Okay.
Survival as an artist nowadays is a lot more difficult. There's a lot more competition. And when I interned at Marvel, and this was at the time when they were going bankrupt at the time. That's funny to hear right now. Because like the billions, they just bought, was it 20th Century Fox?
Yeah,
back then, they were like nothing.
When did they go? Was it 96? I always want to say like back like 96.
No, it was like 98, 99.
Okay.
And at the time, it's like, I was like, man, I want to work at Marvel Comics. I want to start off on a crappy book like Night Thrasher, make that hot, and then move.
Dude, I think I had the first issue.
I think I had that one too. Make it hot, and then work my way up. But then when I got there, it was like everybody was like, people were getting fired. Like I was working in the bullpen, a bunch of people in the bullpen were getting let go. Editors were getting let go. But granted, this was also at the point when Marvel Knights and Joe Quesada and Jimmy Palmiotti and all those guys came in and did those really awesome Marvel Knights versions of the Daredevil and the Punisher and Black Panther. It was a really amazing run of Black Panther back then from Mark Texeira. And but that was the beginning of all that stuff. Ultimate Spider-Man had just kind of come out, and they were running on empty at that point. At that point, I was like, you know what? I think I should know more about art in general. I don't want any excuses why I can't get hired to do a job of some sort, because I've already made my decision. I'm going to work in art.
Right.
I don't care what it is. It'll be inking somebody, it'll be coloring somebody, whatever it is. I'll do illustrations, I'll do whatever. I just want to be doing this as a job. So at that point, and I made that decision. So I learned how to do color work, and I know how to ink, I can paint, I can do everything that would be needed to do that. And I would say, try to learn as much as you can. When you go to, in school, like, I went to the High School of Art and Design uptown, and later on I went to SVA, and I tried to learn as many things as I could. So, which helped me out. I learned storytelling, which allowed me to work in production as a storyboard artist for commercials in a small company called Dancing Diablo, which is still here in Brooklyn. They also, from there working the being that I knew how to do color, I was able to become a background artist as well as a character and prop colorist and color designer. So all these different things I was able to come into because I knew all these different things.
Wow. It's like that for a filmmaker. You have to know all these different areas.
Yeah, I mean, as a filmmaker, you have to understand shot composition. You probably want to learn how lighting works and color values and stuff like that. So you want to know as much as you can so that you have a lot of control over the final product.
Exactly.
So yeah, I like working in all of it. It's all fun to do. I mean, granted, it can be stressful, but anything can be stressful.
You do, man,
but
stressful.
The minute that you start to let that sort of stuff get to you and twist you, that's when it becomes a burden.
Right.
You don't want it to become
What was the first comic book that you read?
Ooh, first comic book that I've ever read. This is probably back in the 80s. I want to say it was probably like a Spider-Man book.
Yeah.
But isn't it Spider-Man always the one that you
Yeah,
want? Yeah, you know. And everybody was saying, Spider-Man was the thing. You know, Todd McFarlane at the time. Still love his work. You know, it's just.
That's the I always tell that's the guy that did it for me was Todd McFarlane, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just I think he actually brought Spider-Man to where he is today. Just I mean with the posing and the drawing, because his artwork just came out of the box.
And the funny thing you know about it is that it was him butting against the system, because everybody who drew Spider-Man up to the point that Todd McFarlane started drawing it was drawing it like John Romita Sr.
Mm-hmm.
So he is like, you know what? How come we're not twisting it? How come I want to make this my Spider-Man? My Spider-Man, you know, is like a contortionist, and his webs are all over the place.
That was.
I mean,
awesome.
there's a really great like interview with him, and he's like, yeah, you know, Spider-Man used to throw out the webs, and it was all this spaghetti webs, and he would tell me not to do that sort of stuff. I mean, sometimes you know, granted he's doing a little bit of more of a forceful way, but you know, just kind of pushing himself in and just changing stuff around. But you know, a lot of times you got to do that a little bit, just a little bit.
Dude, I still have a Todd McFarlane poster of the Spider-Man. Got the black costume on a brick wall.
Mm-hmm.
Got all the webs everywhere, and he's got the blue costume on. I still got it in the plastic. It sits right in my game room. It's from the 1990s, man. Mint condition.
There's this really great thing he used to do that, like if you ever notice any Todd McFarlane covers, you see McFarlane, and then you see a little number. The little number was how many little spiders he decided to hide inside of the
Never
front
knew
cover
that.
of
That is cool.
Yeah, so if you ever look at any of the like Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man things, and you notice that there's a little number there, that's how many spiders he managed to hide on the cover.
That is cool.
For the Spider-Man #1, which is the famous shot where he's all hunched over and there's a web there, he literally put a question mark because he doesn't know how many he put in there. And that's one thing me and Kari worked on, the Marvel Legacy that just recently came out. And we did a lot of kind of takes on classic covers. So we did a Spider-Gwen cover, which was based on a famous Todd McFarlane cover. And I was like, you know, at the time, you know, we just, you know, I think it was the first appearance of Venom, because it was Gwenom that we were going to be doing. It was the first appearance of Gwenom. So, and that one, he didn't do it, but I did. I actually hid like 4 spiders in there and put the little number in there.
Hey, and homage, man. That was nice. That was cool.
And then we did another one was like a based on Amazing Fantasy for, I think, Spider-Man Renewing Your Vows, which is and those are those covers that if you look at the store, they're kind of those kind of, you turn them and they change.
Shape,
they change color. Yeah, I thought those things were pretty cool. We've never, because you know it's not the 90s anymore, so doing chroma covers and all that other stuff, that's all old hat. Nobody really does that sort of stuff anymore.
Yeah.
So it was nice.
I like that
where
stuff,
we got these kooky like hologram covers, and when we worked on Tech Jacket, we had these cool chrome covers that they did. I was like, wow, all right. I never thought I'd see this in my lifetime now. But,
yeah, man. It's just you gotta do different things. I remember when we did our covers on our books, and I was using headshots.
Mm-hmm.
I had someone at the top of the game tell me, why did you guys use a headshot? That's not industry standards. I was like, well, who sets industry standards? We want to be different.
Yeah.
Funny thing is, we did that book, and next thing you know, about a year later, I go into the comic book store, headshot. Headshot. It's like, we were told not to do this, man. Yeah.
Well, you know, the thing is that, again, I go back to Todd McFarlane. He's like, he was always in that one interview, he was like, you know what? People keep telling me to not to do this. Why not? Why can't we do that?
Why can't you do it?
Why?
I say, if it looks good, do it, man.
Exactly. I mean, the one thing about art is that, you know, a lot of what people will tell you is that there is a right and a wrong way to do art. Actually, there really isn't. You can use whatever tool you have. And that's the one thing you have to remember about it. It's like, you can make brilliant artwork with crayons. You can do it with a pen, like a ballpoint pen. You can do anything that you need, you know, to get it out. And
I agree.
I think a lot of times we fall into this thing like this is the right way and this is the wrong way. No, I mean you can make professional looking work and people will love it, even if it's just. I mean, look at Banksy, you know, painting on a wall, you know,
Yeah.
you know.
Dude, if I'm working with an artist and I have an idea,
Mm-hmm.
and this is the picture I want, we're gonna do it. And he says, "Look, Charles, this is what I have to do. Do what you got to do to get it.
Yeah.
Or if you can come up with a better way to do it, then you do it. You understand? There's no right and wrong way.
Yeah, and that's
No,
the
right,
one thing that
wrong
people
way.
need to remember. And again, all the tools are waiting for you out there. You can
Yep.
just do it.
Do it, man.
And that's what, we go back to this other segment. It's like, that's what I always say to people. Like when they're like, how do you get in the industry? It's like, well, just do it. Just go out there, put your work out together. Obviously there are certain ways that you have to present your work. You bring your portfolio or you send a portfolio in. Great. But, best thing these guys want to see is they want to see that you can actually do the work.
Exactly.
That's Spider-Man there.
Put a Mickey Mouse hat on.
That was big. You realize that was done back when Marvel bought Disney. Disney bought Marvel.
Disney bought Marvel.
Yeah. And now they bought 20th Century Fox.
Mm-hmm.
That's an Iron Fist right there, doing some cool stuff.
Now, what was this?
Oh, that was a print that I did a few years ago. It's Scott Pilgrim stuff, but I didn't want to draw Scott Pilgrim style because that's the guy's work. I wanted to do my own take on it. So that John Talbane is from the Darkstalkers series. That was for the Darkstalkers tribute book that was maybe out in 2008
Sorry.
for Udon. That was going to be a submission for it, but for the Mega Man tribute book, that never got in.
That's awesome.
I played a lot of Mega Man.
Well, you must be excited about the new one then.
Played a
The
lot.
new Mega Man
Those are
11,
hard
right?
games, yeah.
Yeah.
Grand games were hard.
It's Mojo Jojo. That was a piece that's on the screen right now. That one is for the card game I mentioned before called Chaotic. We did a lot of amazing work for that, and nobody's ever heard of it. But that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
We had a card game, and we had a TV show that was on for like 2 years, and
I remember, there was a TV show, Chaotic. I
Yeah.
do remember, yeah.
it was a cool show. It started off as a flash show, and then later on they went on to like a physically, actually animated show, a hand animated show.
How long does it take you to draw your original designs?
Oh, for me, it can take. It depends on the project. For something like those card game things, they could take maybe 5 hours or 6 hours, depending. Like a full workday, sometimes it can take to do those sorts of things because they're all fully rendered and painted and digitally. So I mean, people think, oh, hey, you're doing it digitally. It's not going to take. It's going to take less time now.
No.
Painting's painting.
Yep.
It doesn't matter what you're using. So.
Because even with the digital stuff you're using, it's still like you're painting on a darn canvas in a sense. You're doing the same thing. And now, as far as animation, how long would it take you guys to do like an episode for an animation show?
Oh, we usually do them like a year or two in advance.
Okay.
It's usually, that's why, like you see like the new Voltron show that's on Netflix and all that stuff, and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, and a few months later they're like, hey, we got season 3. They already been working on that. They already knew they were going to come with it.
Gotcha.
So that right there was for the Ninja Turtle show that I worked on. That was a really cool shot we did where it would freeze frame and then everything would get painted. So like they would do like some really cool pose and then bam, they were painted. So they had to do
cool.
that.
I played a lot of Ninja Turtles too. Well, the original Turtle.
Yeah, and NES.
I used to play in the arcade, man.
It's a good
I
game.
worked at this arcade. I'm not gonna tell you which one. They had a turtle machine in it. I'm not gonna tell you which one.
There's a lot more arcades now. They got Barcade and all that other stuff.
Yeah, it's different. I lived in arcades. Yeah, man.
Now it's kind of become like it's interesting. Like nowadays, it's all like everybody's interested in like retro stuff.
Yeah.
So now everybody's like, hey, let's go to the arcade. Like, wait,
Nostalgia,
really?
man.
Now, this particular style reminds me of what is it? Those the Hawks, Skyhawks? No.
Oh yeah, that is an ancient piece. They did that in like 2000 something, early to mid 2000s or something. It was a print that I made.
Did something like that. There's a band. They did a video and they had this kind of style.
Like Silverhawk style.
Yeah, they did like a whole thing, this whole theme for their album, and it was awesome.
What I tend to do is when I'm not familiar with a program or something like that, I tend to make projects in them so that because I feel like there's a very big difference between just sitting there and just trying to figure out a program, to use. So
Right.
what I tend to do is I'll create a project in there, or if I'm not sure how to do something, I'll create a project which will incorporate that sort of thing.
Oh, that's smart.
And then you do it, you get to learn it while you're creating a piece. So that piece that we saw before, that was a piece that was fully done in an Illustrator.
That is cool.
Which was this?
Yes, that one right there was all done in Illustrator. And that's why I also stress too to people, it's like, if you're not familiar, like, some people go like, hey, I want to be able to, color my work and all that stuff. I'm like, well, you know what? The best thing to get used to those sorts of things is to actually create a project for yourself. If you're trying to do animation or any of that sort of stuff, create a little bit of a project in there to kind of get yourself familiar with it.
Yeah, makes sense.
And also, there's plenty of really great tutorials online.
YouTube it.
Yeah, and there's also like forums and communities for these sorts of things too, where you can kind of ask them like, hey, how do I do this?
So true. Hello there.
And actually, you know what? That brings out a question. Do you find it more difficult or easier to draw women? I find a lot of it's interesting. Certain artists, they find it more difficult. Some find it easier.
No, I don't find it difficult. I don't have any fear of trying to do something that I haven't done before.
I
You
know
gotta-
2-7.
You kind of got to let that go. You just jump right in. If you screw it up, you know what? Try it again. Do it another time. Make it better. That was for Charismatic the Death Princess.
Wow.
That was the final issue of it.
Wow.
So I noticed too, since you said that 7, like there's like a fear with this. I noticed some they would draw women and it would look like the dudes with just women's heads on it.
Yeah.
I'm being honest.
It's the fear. It's because they're only used to drawing that, probably drawing males, so they tend to be women with guys with boobs. Sorry to use that. That's
I've seen some artists though, man. He draws it like
It's
drawing
like,
women. Wow.
yeah. I mean, granted, it's just like anything. You have to go into figure drawing and learning how to draw people.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say like even going out like we're in New York. Even when you're on the train, draw some people. See how they see. The one thing, another thing, my one of my professors told me, it's like the world out there is, especially in New York, there are a million stories, thousands of stories. You can, if you're perceptive enough, you can catch on to that just by the way a person is standing or sitting or or the way they hold themselves. So look for those sorts of things. And every single bit brings reality to your creation.
Yep. Man, actually, coach used to say that too. Yeah. Wow.
So that's one thing. I have a curiosity with just trying to figure out stories just from just the way a person is just standing or something like that. I mean, obviously, if you see a person crying on the train, obviously, something happened to them.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, that Raggedy Ann is everything.
That was for Boom. I can't remember the name of the project. That one I didn't. I was helping out Kari to do designs on this book while he was there. So I handed him over these designs and he reworked them for the book. It was for a cover project.
Metal Gear.
Yeah, there you go.
Metal Gear.
That.
Ewok? That's an Ewok, right?
No, it's a
Turtle.
Ninja Turtle.
Oh, I can see it now. Yeah, I saw the hood before. Okay, yeah, I can see it now.
It was for an idea I wanted to pitch to the show when we did. We were working on Turtles and we were in between seasons, and I wanted to do. I always feel like it's great to have these really, it's great we have fun action shows, but I always like things that kind of hit, especially with children's shows, things that hit children from what they know, and that idea was the idea of being lost.
Gotcha.
Every one of us has had that situation. You've been inside of a department store and you've gotten separated from your parents at some point, and that fear that you have, that's what I wanted to I wanted where we take a character like that in the Turtles and we do that sort
Nice.
of. But unfortunately, the just never got done, and I didn't have enough time to set up a proper pitch for the guys.
Now, is that a young Snake?
It's just Snake or Big Boss with some fan art that I drew. That's not really anything, but just painted.
Painted.
It's digitally painted.
Looks good though.
We've seen this one before. That one before. How do we do this? Which way do I add a point? So yeah, the piece we see now, that's from Kara's Magic: The Death Princess. The way I design, I don't design things for comics.
Mm-hmm.
I don't design things for comics like I'm designing, like I would, I design everything like a show. And that's because I just mostly come from animation. So how do you do that? You create your characters, you create your props, you create your backgrounds. And that's what this piece, that piece was.
Nice.
And that's from the Death Princess book.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's a character for the Ninja Turtles. My grandmother actually passed away while we were on the show, and that was my semi-therapy character. And I was designing incidental characters, which are just background characters that you fill in a scene, and I wanted it. In a way, like essentially how film, you're kind of, once things are kind of committed to film, and you almost become immortal.
Right.
That's kind of what my idea with that was.
Nice.
She's not here with us, but as long as Ninja Turtles and whatever's shown on TV, she will always be there. And that was the idea for that one.
Cool.
So that one's a kind of a personal one. I'm glad that our boss was like, that's cool. I didn't even tell him the story. He's like, yep, that's a good background character. And she even gets featured in one episode, which is kind of cool too.
That's
Like,
nice.
yeah. So.
What episode?
Oh, jeez, I don't know which one it was. It's so long ago. But it was kind of a fun episode too. It was about comic conventions and like
Can't go wrong with
superheroes.
that.
Yeah, so like one of the turtles is like going to they were both dressed in like these comic book outfits and going into the comic convention, and there was a big line, and she's like one of them on the line, and she gets to talk to one of the people and then goes right in or something.
Nice.
So
nice.
it was a cool little thing.
Wow. Okay, Okay.
So what's next for you?
Next, I can't talk about that because
Yes, you can.
No, I
come
cannot.
on, Can you give us a little
You're
whisper?
on the show. You're on the show. You
Nope,
can do it.
I can't.
Not even a little.
No, I can't talk about any of the new projects that I'm going to be working on.
But when they're done, you can come back and.
Probably, yeah.
No, so don't. You know what? Don't mention any of the new projects you're working on. Mention the projects you're going to be doing.
Oh well, the projects the projects that I'm currently doing is I'm doing the book Amory Wars with the band Coheed and Camera, who are local. They've been around for years.
They're from Scranton, right?
I think so. I think they're.
Oh yeah, nice.
They're from here in Brooklyn, and also in New York. And also I'm working with Marvel. We're gonna be we just have covers and covers coming through there. We have a Black Panther piece cover that we just did, and then we also have a bunch of Scarlet Spider covers, which are really awesome. And that's it for now.
And what about ones in the future?
Ones in the future? Don't know. Yeah, here's the one thing to know about freelance is you kind of have to be wary as to what things are coming and going.
Right.
You have to make your decision months in advance because because you always want to have to keep that your cash flow coming. So
Gotcha.
that was for Black Dynamite, but it never was used. The one from before.
Yeah, you got so much. I want people to see what's going on. It's amazing.
Yeah, you got a plethora there, man.
I do a lot of work I used to do quite a bit of work for some video game sites. And that was this piece that's up right now. That one is for when they closed down Nintendo Power not long ago. That's another Death Princess piece right there.
That's beautiful.
is for Photoshop Magazine. It's a tutorial. I don't know if you can get the book anymore, but that's a total tutorial on my process, my painting process.
Oh wow.
That's cool.
So
Probably find it online, maybe.
I don't know. They don't tell me anything about it. Like once you've done it, they're just like, all right, here's the magazine, and you know, that's
on
it.
your
So
way,
go
huh? Wow.
Ah, this is great.
Excellent work.
Well, thank you so much
Wow.
for
Thank you.
sharing your talent with us.
Thank you for having
You
me.
know, and oh, any website people can check out or follow
Just
you?
go to @emanland, EMANNLAND. You find my all my links on there. That's my Twitter as well as my Instagram. I'm always posting on Twitter and Instagram. So yep, there you go.
Awesome.
Nice.
Well, Mr. Emilio Lopez, thank you very much for coming. Woo!
Come back.
You are like beyond awesome. Thank you so much for meeting us
Definitely.
at a comic book convention and saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to come on through and support the show. So really appreciate that.
definitely.
Appreciate that.
Oh yes, one more plug. I would like to plug my podcast, which is Throwdown. You can go @Throwdown Show, and you will find my podcast, my video game podcast that I do with my bud Tony Polanco works for Geek.com, and a bunch of the other panelists on there.
So you need to send us some links
Yeah.
so we could push it. Let's do that.
Heck yeah.
All right?
Heck
Thank
yeah.
you very much. And of course, always, Michael the Knight, Sensei Vegan.
Always.
And I am Seven. Yes, we all become Batman. Like at the end of the show. And thank you for coming.
Night.
You're watching Eclecticka. Thank you so much. And we will see you next Sunday live. And of course, we will, if you're watching us on cable, that's right, twice. We are on cable Wednesday morning and Wednesday afternoon. Yes, in over 600,000 households. All the information's on sevnetwork.com. You're watching Eclecticka. Thank you.